This is the video for review number 16 for Algebra 1. Review number 16 and test 16 are both due this coming Friday the 17th. So I'm going to do the video of the review again. I'm going to work every problem on the review, so you need to make sure you watch this video carefully and work the problems like I'm showing you to work them. There shouldn't be any reason you shouldn't make a 100 on the test. Okay, so on number 1, you're supposed to write a compound inequality that describes the graph below. So the graph below looks something like this. This is -3, and this goes to 4, and you're supposed to write the inequality. It's shaded between. So you'd have -3 less than x less than or equal to 4. No equal to bar here because it's an open circle. You've got an equal to bar here because it's a closed circle, and they both need to be less than signs. Some of you write it like this, and that's incorrect. That makes no sense. So make sure you use less than signs on it. Then on number 2, you're combining -7 square roots of xy minus 5 square roots of xy. So you just combine like terms. -12 square roots of xy. Nothing happens to the xy underneath, okay? Then on number 3, you've got the square root of 8 times the square root of 2, which would be the square root of 16. And the square root of 16 is 4, so you'd finish that out. Make sure you finish that out. Then number 4, you're factoring. You're actually going to have to take a common factor out before you finish factoring. So you're going to take an x squared out of everything. This should be an x cubed right there. You're going to take an x squared out, so you take an x squared. That leaves x squared plus 9x plus 20. And then you take the factors of 20, and that give you 9. So you'd have x squared, and then x plus 4, x plus 5, that give you 20. So that's the way that one should work, taking out that common factor first, okay? Then on number 5, you've got the advanced factoring, where you are taking the 9 and multiplying by -8 and getting -72. You need the factors of -72. They give you -6. That would be -12 positive 6, because -12 times 6 is -72, and -12 plus 6 is -6. So then you rewrite 9x squared minus 12x plus 6x minus 8. 9x squared minus 12x plus 6x minus 8. You can take a 3x out of the first two. So we take a 3x out. That leaves 3x minus 4. Then you can take a 2 out of the next two. That leaves a 3x minus 4. So our parentheses match. So then 3x plus 2, 3x minus 4. So that's number 5. Then on number 6, just an old... The first type of trinomial factoring we did, just where we take the factors of 24 and get 10. So that'd be x plus 6, x plus 4. X plus 6, x plus 4. Then number 7, it says that a car salesperson earns a 10% commission on each car sold. What price must the car sell for in order for the salesperson to earn a commission of at least $1,800. So at least, that's greater than or equal to. And he's got a 1% not a 1%, a 10% sales commission. So if it's a 10% sales commission, it's a 0.1. So then you divide by 0.1. Don't flip the inequality because you're not dividing by a negative, and that's 18,000. So we'd have to sell at least 18,000. That kind of looks weird. 18,000. He'd have to sell at least $18,000 worth to get the $1,800. Then on number 8, you're having to decide whether it's positive, negative, or no correlation, and it looks something like this. Well, when the line falls, it's called a trend line. When the line falls or when the dots fall, this is a negative correlation, okay? Now on the test, it may be negative, positive, or nothing, so I want to show you all of them. That's negative. If the dots are rising and they've got the trend line going up like that, this is positive. Again, sorry not being able to spell today. It's not good. Positive. And then if they just don't make any sense, if it's just random dots everywhere, this is no correlation, okay? So that's negative correlation, it's falling. This is positive correlation, it's rising, and this is no correlation, it's just really random, okay? So that's number 8. Then on number 9, you had one of these on the last review and last test. This is where you've got conjugates. Everything's the same but the sign. So 5a plus 9, 5a minus 9. So they're conjugates. Everything's the same but the sign. So this turns into the difference of two squares. 25a squared minus 9. That's all you do. The work, sorry, I forgot to write it down. You square the 5a. You put a subtraction sign always, and you square the 9. Okay, I should have done that first. I got ahead of myself. So you square the first one, you square the second one, you put a subtraction sign, and then you fix it. Okay? Then on number 10, well, on all of them, there's little numbers right underneath them. Like number 9 will have a little 60 underneath. That's the lesson it comes from. So on number 10, and one like this on the test, when it's from this lesson, and you'll be able to recognize it because it'll talk about the sum of two number cubes. So you want to find the probability of rolling a sum of 4 or a sum of 10. So we want a 4, we want probability of 4, or a probability of 10 with two number cubes, with two cubes. So that's where you have to go find the chart. There's a chart in lesson 628, in lesson 68. There's a chart, and you have to go look at it, and it shows all the possibilities you get when you roll two number cubes. Well, we want the probability of getting a 4, and we want the probability of getting a 10. So to get a 4, you go and you look at that chart, and there's 3 4s, and there's a total of 36 on the chart. We've worked with the chart before. I talked about the chart. We did that lesson together in class, talked about it. So go back and look at that chart on lesson 68, and then, that's how you're going to have to answer the question when you do the test. Now for the 10, there's 3 10s on the chart, so 3 out of 36. So then we add. We're adding because it's or. If it said and, we'd be multiplying these two, but we're adding them because it's or. So 3 plus 3 is 6, 6 over 36, and then you always reduce if you can. So that comes out to be 1/6. So make sure you always reduce if you can. Then number 11 is just an easy inequality to solve. So you've got x plus 6 greater than -3. You're supposed to solve and graph. Some of you forgot to graph on the last test. So you got a -9 open circle, and it's shaded to the right. So that's what 11 is. That's how you show the work. So make sure you show the work correctly. Then number 12, it's a two-step inequality. Again, very easy. You're adding 6 to both sides, so you get 5x less than or equal to -20, and then you divide by 5. I'm not dividing by a negative, so I do not flip my inequality, so that'd be less than or equal to a -4. Gotta graph it because those are the instructions, so -4 on here. Remember, you don't have to put all the numbers on the number line. -4 is enough. It's less than or equal to, so shade to the left. So that's number 12. Then we're going to skip number 13. I want you to skip number 13. So number 13, skip. Number 14, we want to write direct variation. We want to write a direct variation equation. Now again, this is written on the review, direct variation. Direct variation is y equals kx. That's direct variation. So then k is y over x. That's how you find k with direct variation. And then they give you this point, 6 comma -54. This is your point. Guys, this is your x, this is your y. So you just do -54 divided by 6. That's -9. And then you've got to make sure you plug it back in because we want the direct variation equation. So y equals -9x. So direct variation, y equals kx. K is y over x. They give you a point, 6 comma -54 is what it is here, so that's your x and your y. You find k by having -5 over -54 divided by 6, that's -9, and then you plug back in because you're asked to find the direct variation equation. Okay, then on number 15 is solving an absolute value equation. Number 15, you've got 3 times the absolute value of x equals 15. You always, 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 and some of you get confused on this, so make sure you're watching the video very carefully and doing it in the order I show you to do it. So you've got to isolate your absolute value first. You have to do that first. It's just the way these problems work, okay? So you have to isolate it first and get absolute value of x equals 5, and then x is plus or minus 5. So make sure you isolate the absolute value first. If it's not by itself, get it by itself first and then do this, okay? You have to make sure you show me this step in between the division. I am showing you exactly what I want you to do, exactly the way I want to see the work, okay? Then on number 16, you've got Karen, who started walking at 2 miles per hour. So we could write Karen as y equals 2x. Her distance is rate times time. That's what it is. Distance is rate times time. Distance equals rate times time. And Karen is going 2 miles per hour. After she walked 2 miles, so her distance is her rate times her time, plus she's walked 2 miles. Ned starts walking at the same pace of 2 miles per hour. So Ned is 2 miles per hour as well. We want to know if Ned will ever catch Karen, okay? There's several different ways to do this one. There's several different ways to think about it. The way I want you to think about it, or what I want you to look at, are the slopes. Notice how the slopes are the same. Since they have the same slopes, that means these lines are parallel. These lines are parallel, so they will never meet. So because these equations will never meet because they have the same slope, that means Ned will never catch up. Will never catch Karen. Okay, so that's the way I want you to think about it. Look at those slopes. Those slopes are the same. Those are parallel lines. They will never meet, so that means Ned will never meet Karen. That's how I want you to look at that. Okay, then number 17, we've got Caitlin selling t-shirts. She sold 2 for $13, so that's an ordered pair. And then she sold 4 for $25, so that's the other ordered pair. 2 shirts for $13, 4 shirts for $25. And again, you're going to have the review right in front of you so you can see this. We want to know what she's going to charge for $7. So we want to finish that last ordered pair. Well, to be able to do that, we've got to write the equation of the line. Something we've done before, not new. It's from lesson 52. So you could go back to lesson 52 and look at it. Go back and look at your notes for lesson 52. Okay, so the first thing we have to do is find the slope, which is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So I'm going to pick these two because this one doesn't have a y yet. We've got to find that after we find the equation of the line. So 25 minus 13 over 4 minus 2, that's 12 over 2, which is 6. Then we're going to do y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So it'd be y minus 13. It doesn't matter which point you use. You could use the 213 or you could use the 425. We're going to use the 213. So y minus 13 equals 6, because my m that I just found is 6, so I put it there, and then x minus 2. So then y minus 13, and then 6x, distribute that 6 correctly. 6 times x is 6x. 6 times negative 2 is negative 12, so make sure you distribute correctly right here. Then add 13 to both sides, so y equals 6x plus 1. Now, that's the first answer. Now we've got to fill in our y here because we want to know what she's going to charge for 7 shirts. So we take that 7 and we plug it in. So 6 times 7 plus 1, that's 42 plus 1, which is 43. So she's going to charge $43, okay? That's how you do that. Again, it's from lesson 52. If you need to go back and look at your notes or look at other examples, that's the way you write the equation of the line, and that's number 17. Then on number 18, we're asked to identify the asymptotes. This is when we graphed those rational equations, and we were looking for asymptotes. So we want the vertical asymptote. The vertical asymptote is what would make the thing undefined. So what you do to find the vertical asymptote is you set your denominator equal to 0 and you solve for x. So your vertical asymptote is x equals 3. That's the way you do it every time. Your vertical asymptote is x equals 3. Your horizontal asymptote, and we're not going to graph this. You're just going to find the asymptotes. That's all I want you to do. Your horizontal asymptote is you look at the equation and you look for an extra number out here, okay? An extra number out here. If there's not one, your horizontal asymptote is y equals 0, which is what it's going to be right now. Really the only thing you're going to have to find is your vertical asymptote, putting the denominator equal to 0 and solving it. Your horizontal asymptote for right now, because we just got started on that, is just y equals 0, okay? So, but again, if you see a number out here, like if this had a plus 3 out here, then your horizontal asymptote would be y equals 3, if there was a plus 3, okay? But this one does not have that, so that's the way you do number 18. Then the last one on this review is number 19, and it is what number is 150% of 40. So biggest thing on this is I want you to write the equation. What number, or you can use an x, I don't care. You can use WN or you can use x. So what number is, that's equals 1.5, that's 1.5 times 40. And then you put what number is 60. I want to see that work. I want to see the equation. This is algebra. In algebra, we write algebraic equations and we solve them. So I want to see an algebraic equation. What makes it algebraic? A variable. You got to have a variable. So this is algebra class. I want algebra equations. Wn equals 1.5 times 40. So Wn equals 60. And sorry, that should be a dot for multiplication. It's kind of messed up. And that's all for the review, okay? So again, this review is due on Friday. This review is due this Friday with the test. So the test and the review are due this Friday. Make sure that you do the review with the video, or that you do the review and then check it with the video and make sure that you got it all and you got the work and that kind of stuff. And then use your review on the test. I repeat, use your review for the test. You may even have to use your book for the test, because if you have to find the sum of two number cubes, rolling two number cubes, lesson 68. Okay, I will also be sending out another video for the lesson that you have this week, but I'll send that out probably Tuesday or Wednesday morning because it's not due until next week. The only thing you have due this week is the review and the test. Review 16, review 17. Review 16, test 16.